Hello everyone and welcome back to another Mara and Bitcoin chart planning update video. On this one, I'm also going to take advantage of and go over a trade I made earlier this week that lasted 2 days that I lost, and the trade consisted of three different options contracts, all expiring later this week, and they're all done. Um, I have very strict rules when it comes to trading, and I like my criteria to be very untacked. Unfortunately, I broke that criteria. I didn't. There was one thing I was missing that I didn't pay attention to, um, and it caused me to lose a little bit of money. It's not too much because I was able to close out of the trade early, and I didn't really buy too much into it. But I'm gonna try to have a picture of that up here, and I'm gonna somewhere up here, and I'm going to have I'm gonna go ahead and break that down for you guys on what that looks like. And I was gonna make a separate video for this, but I realized I really just want to get this video done because I really want to go play some video games, and I decided just to cramp it all into one video. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna break down what mistake I made in that trade, and then I am going to um, explain why, not just what mistake I made, but what caused me to make that mistake. And then I'm going to jump into the regular chart planning stuff. So then we can look at Mara and Bitcoin's current structure so we can better understand that. And I do have an updated structure here. For those of you that have been following for a little bit, you're going to notice there's some differences here, but I'm going to break that down a little bit. So yeah, Mara stock originally, this structure was different. I believe we were looking at a potential second wave. Let me put that lower. After I realized that the wave count was a little bit off and Bitcoin was doing something differently, it was already too late, and I didn't notice that ahead of time when I should have, but I'm going to break that down a little bit more. So we're currently working on this fourth wave down. What I originally had in sight was, and if you guys look at my previous videos, you'll know about this blue area right here, where I've been tracking since we were up in this area right here. So Bitcoin went up in this area, and then we had simply a three-wave corrective move. But I forgot, and I say this in pretty much every video. Third wave moves up are usually extended, and then the fourth wave correction is also usually extended, and they are not short-lived. So this third wave was very much extended. It went up, never broke any structures, and it had slight small corrective moves, but still kept up moving. Great. And then once we finally had a top, we kept tracking it up with this right here. So we kept tracking it up as it goes up, and then it finally broke into this area. And then on the smaller picture, I had this WXY three-wave structure correction up here. So it was a WXY three-wave move. And, I was blind to that. I completely forgot, even though I say it to myself a lot as well off camera. Fourth wave corrective moves are usually pretty much always extended. And this was very short-lived. We didn't even see discounted areas on this price yet. So what I ended up doing, and there was also another mistake I made. So let me actually remove this, or let me leave it for now for illustration reasons. But Bitcoin also, um, I was too, I wasn't enough open-minded understanding that, well, once we have a fourth wave bottom, and we confirmed that so we had a retracement area here where it broke past the structure, and then it started trending higher. So it looked a little bit like that, where we started trending in it, holding, break below, but we're still holding the area, and then we ended up breaking over, indicating that a potential bullish move has begun. And then this is the first wave, or the smaller first wave structure of an overall fifth wave structure that's going to bring us much higher than current levels. But the mistake I made here is in this is how it correlates to Mara. If Bitcoin dips, Mara usually dips. Pretty much every time. It doesn't 100% track Bitcoin, but it does. Let me make sure this didn't run out of battery. We're still good. Okay. So Mara amplifies pretty much Bitcoin's move most of the time. Not 100% of the time, but pretty much close to 100% of the time. And then I knew that, well, eventually, and I kept saying this through on a lot of videos too, I kept saying, eventually we will see, I was very, very blinded and too into the idea of the first wave finishing around all-time highs. And, that's quite an extension. I don't really know why I wanted to see this area up here. I need to update this green retracement or extension area because it doesn't really make any sense right now and it needs a little bit of an update. And I was too blind to that. I kept wanting it to reach this area before we see a second wave correction. But of course, I kept tracking this price upward. So as it kept going higher and higher, we can remove this from here. So that's not valid anymore. But this, we kept tracking it higher and higher and higher. And I said, at any point, like I would like Bitcoin to go higher and finally meet up into the all-time high area to complete a first wave. But at any point, we can easily see the first, since we surpassed this swing high right here, and we're very very near the this swing high up here. But we surpassed this area. We let me remove that as well. But understanding that Bitcoin can retrace so easily. There's a lot of positive news going on, but it's sort of a little bit of distant from current time, and it's July 24th, almost midnight Wednesday night. Of course, if we're looking at back Monday, we would have been 2 days prior, and it would make more sense. But understanding that first wave correction or first wave rallies are not overshooting, they're usually short-lived, and we've had quite a short-lived rally. This is like since early July we started seeing the price start trending upward. Like, it hasn't been that long. This is a very short-lived rally. Second waves are also short-lived, so I'm gonna make that very clear here. And then third wave extensions, or third waves usually extend quite a bit as well. So I'm going to update this area, and this will be our third wave estimate. Not right now, I'll update it and I'll show you guys that on the next video. But understanding that first wave is short-lived, and I kept wanting it to go higher into this green area, and that makes absolutely no sense. But I wasn't, what's the term, coaching myself on that. It's something I should have paid attention to. So there's two things I missed. If we go back, or let's do this one first. Understanding that we've been tracking it up, and we're saying that, and I kept saying that we can potentially see a short-lived rally. And I was even saying it short-lived. It should have clicked in my head, but I was saying that we can potentially see a short-lived first wave rally, and then finally find a second wave support briefly inside this blue retracement area, most likely on the premium half. And then we can move higher into the third wave. It should have clicked in my head. Short-lived. I should have known that this is a good time to start buying in some shorts. But I was blind to it. And I hope this is making sense. I should have known we weren't going to see all-time highs being retested on the first wave. That's just very, very, very unlikely. Especially on a stock like this where that would be, over 30%, or not a stock, or crypto like this, it will be over 30%. I should have known we weren't going to go there, and I kept saying it to myself, but I just wasn't paying attention to myself. But yeah, so So I'm going to get into the chart planning portion of this in a moment. And then the second thing is that let me organize this a little bit. And then I kept saying in many videos, fourth wave corrections are extended just like three wave or the third wave rallies. Um, and I wasn't paying attention to myself either. We saw a short-lived three wave correction. We went up into the at the time also this would be a good area to start like selling any like super short term stuff or adding to a um, larger short position because we're reaching that. What it will look like if I take this off is that once we go down and we're following the price down, this follows along with it, and then if we're in a bearish uh, structure, this would then act as resistance for us to move down. As you can see, it did act as resistance and it moved down. At the time, though, I don't know what's going on. I wasn't paying attention, but it's a short-lived three-wave correction. We went up into the retracement or the resistance area, and now we're moving down lower. So this is creating our more extended three-wave structure, and it's a lot more clear now because you can see what that really looks like. So yeah, I lost basically a little under $300. It was like 200 something. I had a picture on that earlier in the video to show what that position looked like, and you can see where my strike prices were on those calls. And yeah, I just it's all good. We're moving on to the next um, structure, specifically on this stock. Of course, um, it happens to everyone, and it's probably going to happen to me again multiple times where I just don't pay attention to my criteria, my checklist, and I have to keep reminding myself, and that's just a process of improving as a trader, improving as a person, remembering that it is okay to make these mistakes because as we were moving down, although at the time I was very confident we were going to go higher, I was, going in light. I only had three contracts total, and as we kept falling into discounted areas on this area, or discounted levels in this area, I added a little bit more, and I was adding very, very small amounts. I think in total, the cost of all three contracts was also just a little bit under $300. Um, I didn't really lose much, and I wasn't going in heavy because normally once we see buying happening and we buy into it, we want to start out small. Once we have confirmation of a price going higher, in this case, if we were going to see prices going higher, we would have broken over so again, let me remove this so I can show you. We would have broken over the resistance area. So if we're moving down, bearish pattern, we want to see, we start adding because we believe it's going to go up, and then this is our roof. And if we break over that, then that's when we can start moving up higher, and that's the confirmation that I was looking for. We never did. We never broke higher, so I never added more to it. So I was able to save myself there from potentially losing more. And that's really like there you go, the beauty of it. So that was a little bit of insurance right there. So that worked out very well. It was a very successful like exit of a losing trade. So now the chart planning portion of this video. I'm not trying to make this too long of a video, but okay. So we're gonna start off with Mara. Now I updated this area. What I ended up doing was I took the length of the start of the W wave up to the second wave, which is the X wave, and that gave us this area, and I made it yellow just to mix things up a little bit. So we can potentially find a fourth wave move completion in this yellow area. And then of course, if we, this is where, discounted area, this is where we can start adding slowly into more positions, and we then can use the entire move down, and if it continues to move down, I will move it down as well. But we're gonna current prices here, so I'm gonna leave it here. We can continue slowly adding to our position down here, and then if and the I should also say, like, everything in this video is of course my own personal opinion, and it is not financial advice. I'm not recommending or telling everyone to buy, sell, or hold any asset in this video. No stocks or crypto. It is just a way for me to document my journey and also to attract like-minded individuals um, into my channel, because I really appreciate everyone's feedback, and everyone deserves as many um, sources to get as information for their own trade. So it's not personal. This is not financial advice. It's just me documenting my own personal trades and my approach. So my approach. So I'm looking to start adding positions on the discounted area. So starting in this middle gap, start slowly adding positions. I'll keep adding until we break over the top. If we do break below the bottom, I'm going to also cut that position as well, take loss, and not hold. It's very important for everyone to cut losses. When you have a strict, if you tell yourself, like, this is my accumulation area, if we break below it, I'm out, then you should get out. We're not hopeful traders, we're cautious, patient traders. We are not hopeful traders, and this is something I really like to push out there. So yeah, I'm looking to start accumulating real soon, probably even starting tomorrow, into a new Mara short-term position. This one's probably gonna be like 2 weeks out, because some of the speakers on this Bitcoin conference happening this week don't speak until one of them, I think, speaks Saturday. So I want to look to an expiration for these short-term calls to be on the following Friday, so next Friday. So I want to start accumulating, not accumulate anything in this gap, wait for confirmation. I want to see prices trend in this area. And then if we start breaking above this area, that's when I'm looking to add in even more onto that position. When we start breaking above this area, so when my trades break above a retracement area from a bearish trend, then that's usually I'll start shaving some positions off and also adding, so I can lock in some profits. But because I believe once we break above this area, we're going to have more bullish momentum going higher, to at least $30. As you can see, my area is up here. Then I'll start shaving there again. So it's adding down here, not touching, shaving some off. Once we have confirmation of a continued rally, add some more, and then start shaving off in this area up here. That's usually how I like to approach my trades, to kind of make sure I'm not being too aggressive. I like to be very cautious about this. So hopefully this makes sense. That's what I'm looking at with Mara personally. I'm looking for support in this area. If we break below, cut losses. But if we start moving higher, you already know what I'm doing here and then what my expectations are. If those expectations are not met, I will update you guys as soon as possible with what the structure looks like then at the time and what the update is. And of course, if you follow me on social media or join my Discord, you'll be updated. If you like the way I trade and you want to be updated a lot sooner than waiting on my YouTube videos, I will be updating the Discord community and on social media a lot sooner, especially the Discord community. So that's what I got for Mara. Hopefully this is making sense. Now, two things about Bitcoin. Besides breaking down the current structure, I'm also going to break down how this can affect Mara negatively and potentially having it break below the yellow area. So if we do go into the discounted area, at least of this blue retracement, we can potentially see Mara break below this green support area or this yellow support area as well. It's very, very possible, because a a more aggressive move downward on Bitcoin can easily push this stock well below $20. Definitely, potentially reaching $17 short term before then eventually moving up higher. If that were to happen, I would then be restructuring this wave count because it would be completely invalidated, and I would update you guys on a fresh wave count that would make more sense if that were to happen. So the reason I'm stressing that is because, again, if we see a more significant break, like nearing or below $61,000 or potentially around this area right here, this is where we can see Mara really drop a lot more. So that's something to be cautious about. Although my opinion now on Bitcoin is, when I said that if we see a second wave corrective move begin, that would then be a short, or how do you say, an early end to a first wave. After taking time and looking at this chart, it is not an early end. This is actually a very much an appropriate end. If you do use some extension fib levels here, you're going to see that this area is actually a resistance area, and it wasn't clear to me at the time. So this is actually not short-lived. This is a proper first wave. Now we're looking at the second wave. Ideally, of course, these are all just estimates. A lot of people say we're looking at a little head and shoulders pattern where we see a little pump up here, and then we see the price fall down again. That's completely valid, and that makes a lot of sense, although I don't base my stuff on that. I base my stuff on the overall wave count and the overall flow of the picture. We are kind of selling off in the RSI. We can go a little bit lower, indicating that this price can easily break into the blue retracement area briefly. I would ideally like to see this price stay, or if it can fall down a little bit more, just a little bit more, and briefly break in this blue area, or at least touch the blue area, that'll be great. Trending in the premium half of this area is fine as well. I really don't want to see anything below the 0.5 in the discounted area. That'll be very bad for Mara, but still, it's still a support area for Bitcoin. It's just short-term bad for Mara. Fine for Bitcoin, and then a break below that means something completely weird is going on in the world, and we need to restructure everything. And that's like, if we see a break below this blue area, something's probably happening in the world, and there's probably bigger things for us to worry about than the price of Bitcoin short term. Yeah, so I'm looking for support in this area, ideally the top half, that way Mara doesn't suffer too much. And then not just for myself, but for you guys as well. If you're trading Mara long, and then of course, so I still see very short-term downward movement on Mara, and then shortly after finding support in this area, potentially right at the top 0.35 or somewhere in here. Then that's when as you can see, I have this yellow line drawn out. So something like this, and then that's when we can start seeing a third wave top a bit higher, potentially nothing under $80,000. So I'm gonna update this area on the next video, and it's gonna be higher than this. Nothing less than $80,000 for the third wave is what I'm looking at the moment. So that's the bearish case. This is the ideal support area, premium half. This area is still a good support area, just not good for Mara because it's going to push Mara a lot more down as Bitcoin trends. But I want to see, ideally, support found premium half, and then we can start moving our way up again, and then that would also help Mara recover and start moving higher as well. So hopefully this all made sense. Hopefully some of you, or at least one of you, learned something here today when it comes to my mistake I made trading Mara. I wasn't paying attention to some very obvious things that I always pay attention to, and it's just a mistake. I didn't lose too much, so that's good, and I hope the chart planning made sense. Hopefully I didn't repeat myself too much, and I hope I don't talk too fast, but I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a great day or night. Take care, and yeah, have a good one.